Math Module 2, Lesson 26. I can divide decimal dividends by two-digit divisors, estimating quotients, reasoning about the placement of the decimal point, and making connections to a written method. Make sure everything I do in the video you're doing in your workbook. Be sure to pause to catch up. And if you're a little confused, please rewind and rewatch. Good luck! 904 divided by 32. So we first start by putting our dividend under the roof and our divisor outside. So 9 divided by 32, or how many 32s can go into 9, you can't do. So let's put our placeholder x. So we're not tempted to put a number there. So now it's 90 divided by 32, or how many 32s can go into 90. So let's do our toolbox over to the side. So 32 times 3 is 9, or 30 times 3 is 90. So I'm going to try 32 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 6 is 64. 32 times 3 is 6 and 9. So 96 is too big. So yep, it's got to be a 2. So that 2's got to go above the 0 and 90. 2 times 32 is 64. Lining up. 0 minus 4 I can't do. 4 is too big and 0 is too small. So I got to borrow. That 9 becomes an 8 and that 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. And now I have to bring down. Notice it's a straight line. Uh-oh. 264 divided by 32. All right, I'm going to count by 30s. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240. So that's 7, or that's 8 of them. I can't count. So let's try 32 times 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 10. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. 256 is really close to 264. So we're going to put an 8 up in my quotient above the 4 that I brought down. 8 times 32 is 256. That's why my toolbox is awesome. Subtract. 4 minus 6. Can't take away 6 from 4 because it's too small, so I got to borrow. So that 6 becomes a 5. That 4 becomes a 14. 14 minus 6 is 8. 5 minus 5 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. We're going to continue on and see if we can get no remainder. So I'm going to add my decimal, because when there's no decimal shown, it's always to the right. So I'm going to put my decimal in my quotient too. I'm going to add a 0, bringing it down because I just subtracted. So 80 divided by 32. So 30 is close, or 32 is close to 30, so 30, 60. So we're going to try 2 in my quotient above that 0 I just added. 2 times 32, I already have my answer. It's 64, lining up perfectly. 0 minus 4 I can't do, so I have to borrow. That becomes a 7. This is now a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. I still think I can make it so I don't have a remainder, so I'm going to add another 0 and bring it down. So 160 divided by 32. Okay, let's count by 30s. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. So that's 5. So let's try 32 times 5. Put it in my toolbox. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 10. Or, yeah, write the 0, carry the 10. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. 160. So above that 0 I just added, I put a 5. 5 times 32 is 160. 0, 0, 0. So I have no remainder. My quotient is 28 and 25 hundredths. Now we're going to check. I need a little more space, or I've got to write smaller. So we're definitely going to start with our quotient on top because it's a longer number than my divisor of 32. Times, I want to make sure my decimal's noticed, 32. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Notice I'm lining everything up. Don't add the decimal yet. 2 times 8 is 16, carry the 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I'm done with the ones place in that 2, so I'm going to put a 0 starting in the tens, where that 3 is. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 10. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 times 8, 24, so I write the 4, carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So now I'm going to add 0. 5 plus 5 is 10, right? Carry the 10. 6 plus 7 is 13. 13 plus 1 is 14. Carry the 10. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. Write the 0. Carry the 10. 8 plus 1 is 9. How many digits are to the right of the decimal? 1, 2. 1, 2. So 904. Does it match my original dividend? You betcha. So that tells me 28 and 25 hundredths is my quotient for 904 divided by 32. Make sure you showed all your work, including the toolbox. 456 divided by 16. So I'm going to put my dividend first under the building with my divisor outside. So 4 divided by 16, or how many 16s can fit into 4, I can't do. So I'm going to put the X as a placeholder. So now I have to think of 45 divided by 16. So 16 is close to 15. So let's do a toolbox. So 15 and 15 is 30. 30 and 15 is 45. So let's try 16 times 3. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 10. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Uh-oh. 48 is too high. So let's do 16 times 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 10. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, 32. So above the 5 and 45, we're going to write 2. 2 times 16, 32. Subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Now I'm bringing down that 6. It's a straight arrow. So 136 divided by 16, or how many 16s can fit into 136? Okay. Let's see. I'm going to count by 15s again, because 16 is really close to 15. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135. So I think 9. So let's try 16 times 9. 9 times 6 is 54. So I write the 4, carry the 5. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. All right, that's too high. So let's do 16 times 8. 8 times 6 is 48. Carry the 4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12, 128. So my quotient must be 8. 8 times 16, 128. I subtract. 6 minus 8 I can't do. So I've got to borrow from the 3 and make it a 2 and make this 16. 16 minus 8 I can do, which is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. All right, we're going to try to get it so we don't have a remainder. So I'm going to add a decimal and a 0 that I'm going to bring down because I just subtracted. 80. Oh, goodness. All right, let's think. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. So I think 5. So let's try 16 times 5. My toolbox is really full this time. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. 80. Ooh, I like this. So above the 0 is going to be a 5. 5 times 16 is 80. And when I subtract, it's 0. So my quotient's 28 and 5/10, or 28 and a half. Let's prove it, though. We always check with long division. So we're going to start with our quotient. 28.5, 28 and 5/10 times 16. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 3 is 51. Carry the 5. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 5 is 17. Put the 0, because I'm done with the ones place. I'm starting in the tens. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I'm going to add 0, 6, 15, carry the 10, 4. So now I have to look how many digits are to the right of the decimal. It's only 1. So that's where I'm going to put my decimal. So 1 or 456. Well, let's check. Does it match? 456? You betcha. So 28 and a half, or 28 and 5/10 is my quotient for 456 divided by 16. Make sure you showed all your work.